Welcome, viewers and listeners, to another edition of CHP Talks. I'm here with a longtime friend, CHP candidate, and one of the heroes of the trucker movement, Harold Jonker. Harold, thanks for joining us today.
No, it's a pleasure, and very thankful to be here today with some stuff behind me when it comes to the legal system. But yeah, we're very thankful for what the CHP has been doing and what you have done as well, Rod. And I just want to give a quick plug that one of your the podcast that we were on during the convoy was played, and it was very emotional actually to watch that as we were we talking about God and the love and the joy and the peace of our Savior in the courtroom. It was kind of weird well, I shouldn't say weird. It was kind of neat to be able to watch an interview there where God was proclaimed. So that was pretty special.
Yeah, so for folks who have not seen the news yet, Harold Jonker was cleared this past week, not guilty on all charges in an Ottawa courtroom regarding his involvement, the trucks he had on Parliament Hill during the Freedom Convoy. So can you back us up a little bit on that, Harold, and tell folks how that court case developed, or even if you want to go back further and talk about the convoy, that's fine. I know we don't have too much time. You're on a tight schedule, and thanks for joining us today with with everything that's going on in your life. But take us back a little bit and bring us up to date with the court case.
Yeah, okay. I'll try to be quick here, but yeah, basically, the COVID mess from it's 2020, I guess. So it's amazing when you start thinking back on how far back that was. But yeah, the mess of COVID was definitely a challenge for our society, and we felt it in so many different ways. And being a town councillor with in West Lincoln, you're politically involved with decisions that were frustrating to hear being made when you were speaking against it. But at the same time, that's how our democracy works. And then going to protests and trying to have your church stay open as an elder was frustrating. But at the same time, you did the best you can. And then this convoy thing happened, and yeah, being a truck driver and a owner of a trucking company, we were able to participate in that, signed up as Niagara's captain, and yeah, from there it was unbelievable how things unfolded. And big part of that was the fact that I've run for the Christian Heritage Party in 4 elections, attended a lot of seminars, and was trained on how to deal with the media and do that respectfully but yet boldly. And that led to me doing a lot of interviews with the mainstream media, because so many people in the and I never like saying the word, but those who were in positions of leadership, I guess, if you want to say that, were we don't trust the media, and I was willing to take that on, and because of what I've received from so many good conventions that the CHP has held and training sessions. So that, and the fact that I was surrounded by family members and friends who constantly reminded me never forget to speak about God and that in your interview. So it I ended up doing a lot of interviews, and 14 months after the convoy, we found out that the Ottawa police wanted me arrested. I turned myself in, and very thankful that last week we had a trial that went quicker than expected. But and then the verdict was the judge surprised us on day 3 of the trial when we were done, that he said, okay, we got 6 days of trial booked. I'll see you on Monday. And then the clerk had to remind him well, Monday's a holiday, Your Honor. Oh yeah, I always forget that. So we'll see you Tuesday with the verdict. And then Tuesday morning, go to court at 10 o'clock, and at 10:25 walked out of the courtroom with 4 counts of, 4 criminal counts, not guilty, right? So that was the emotional time, and it was really kind of funny and neat in a way, or beautiful in a way, how God used the interviews that I had done with yourself. I did one with the Peter Hegseth, Fox and Friends, and also one with Derek Salone, and how we were able to talk about God and our faith and stuff like that. So the judge couldn't help but make the right decision in the fact that there's not enough evidence to find Mr. Jonker guilty of mischief, intimidation, and counseling. So we're very thankful that the Lord guided the judge with the truth, and also gave him the courage to make the right decision. Right. So prayers were answered, and the support and love has just been unbelievable during the convoy, but even coming up to this trial, and even after the trial, it's been a beautiful thing, and it almost makes you cry just thinking about it. That the love across this country has been definitely felt by my wife Janice and I and the family. That words can't say enough when you just say thank you, right? You want it to be bigger than just a thank you, a big hug, right?
So, well, that's so tremendous. So some of the things that came out during the trial, I think you mentioned the other day to me, there was, the charges had to do with some of it with the blocking of streets, and it was shown in the trial that there was always emergency lanes open. There were always emergency lanes open. The various accusations that under examination didn't hold water. And it's amazing today, in this day and age, it's almost amazing to find a judge who judges properly, because it seems like so many decisions that have come down for many of our friends in terms of, some of the sexual orientation agenda, some of our people that are standing up, Barry Neufeld, Bill Whatcott, others that are getting hammered in the courts just because it seems like the courts have bought into the same narrative as the government. And maybe there's a reason for that the judges, the judicial system, the courts are supposed to be independent of the government, but it seems like a lot of the pressure that the government put on the people also seemed to be applied to the courts. So the courts felt bound to come down in support of bad government decisions. In this case, you had a judge who looked at everything properly, made a good judgment, and we're grateful for that. Thanks be to God.
And like I've it's just been like I never really watched my interviews, right? So I didn't see a lot of the stuff that the Crown had as evidence against me. And the thing that I was really struggling with and was the fact that the lawyer's telling me, Harold, they have no evidence. You don't need to testify. I'm like, I want to testify, right? Like, we're called to speak. So, even my wife, Jan, she goes, you know what? Why don't we just see how it goes? And it was, they're like, you're watching your stuff, the evidence that they're presenting, and the lawyer from the Justice Center for Constitutional Freedoms, Chris Fleury, my lawyer, did an excellent job. Stayed composed and just stuck to what he needed to do, and he just did an excellent job. And I remember at one point going, like, you don't know who you have as a lawyer, you don't know him very personally, but it was kind of neat to meet him and his wife, and his wife was excited that Chris was going to get to work with me, a Christian man, and they're Christians themselves. So, and that's where I decided, you know what? People are saying, you need a different lawyer. You got to do this and you got to do this. And I kept saying, no, I need to trust my lawyer. And part of that was because I knew he was a Christian, right? And that helped me say, yeah, we're going to stick with what the Lord has put in front of me. And we're very thankful for that as well, that he did an excellent job. And I think the judge seen through that the Crown couldn't answer the question of when did this protest cross the line from legal to illegal, and then the Crown either didn't really want to answer it or couldn't answer it, and he couldn't, and the judge seen through that, but yet there's still a tone of mischief that he wanted to leave in his decision, right? So at one point he said, we're trying Mr. Jonker, not the convoy. If the convoy was on trial, we would find mischief. But Mr. Jonker, there's just no clear evidence that he was part of that mischief. And yeah, you can't help but like my cousin who works for us, he's been a good friend of mine for years as well. He was at the convoy, and he said, yeah, it was beautiful how the Holy Spirit did not allow you to say something wrong. And talking to my brother and my sister-in-law this morning at the shop, and yeah, that's what we were praying for all the time, right? That we don't offend God, that we do the right thing when we are there, and it happened, and it's definitely not. It's not our work, right? It's the work of the Holy Spirit, and that was the beautiful thing about the convoy, that God's presence was felt there by so many different denominations were there, and people were coming to the Lord. They seen the mess that we were in, and so yeah, it was a beautiful moment in history. So
Yeah, tremendous. Now, how many trucks again did you have on the hill at that time?
Yeah, I'm going to say it as the judge said it. Jonker Trucking Incorporated had 12 trucks attend the convoy, and only because my truck, the truck I drove in, the first truck into Ottawa, it was having some battery issues, so it kept having to be boosted and stuff like that. So we were on the street. We didn't like where we were at the first day, so we left and went to the camp. And then because my truck was giving us so many problems, it's like we're just going to leave this truck at the camp. So it never really got back out on the streets, which helped my case, right? And that's where you can see this is the Lord's hand in things, right? And it's just beautiful. Like what we and scheme and plan is one thing, but the Lord's plans are better, right? So
always,
yeah.
And then there was that question that seemed to be one that was pushed about blocking emergency access, and that was shown to be not true, correct?
That's correct. Yeah, there was a trans person who had walked the streets at 11 o'clock one night and had made a video of one of our trucks sitting on the street, and my lawyer was able to very easily show to the judge that the truck was parked by a parking meter, and a couple seconds later in that video was able to show that there was a lane open, right? So my lawyer did a really good job. Can you please, like you were right in cross-examining that witness, he said, that's a parking meter, right? You can agree to that? Yes. You can agree that Jonker trucking truck is parked on that side of the street? Yes. So that means he's parked legal. Then you can also agree with me that there's a lane open. So yeah, it's not right to say it was laughable, but it was in a way that the videos that they were using actually, I think, worked against them as well. So that was kind of neat to see, right? That, yeah, the truth is there. It's just if you want to ignore it or use it, then, um, and that's where the Crown didn't have enough evidence in the judge's eyes.
Well, this is just great news for us, for the family of God, and for the freedom movement to have a good judgment like this come down, and we're so pleased how your life, a lot of things probably with the court case going on, and sort of various pressures. Your life has been quite busy, I would say hectic. I don't know what it was like before the convoy, but I know it's been kind of very busy since. You got a trucking company to run. You got, is it 13 children? Yeah,
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you just have a lot to keep up with. And today you have to make a trip a couple of hours north. So I don't want to keep you, but what's the, to give an overview of the thing, or what we have not mentioned? Do you want to I'll just give you a couple minutes to kind of lay out your overall picture of what's happened, and where do we go from here? I mean, the world has not ended, and you're not in jail. That's good. And we've just gone through an election, and because of everything going on, you were not able. You were planning to be a candidate, but you just have been too much going on in your life. Um, but now we have a liberal government back in power. The same, it's different, a different prime minister, but it's the same government that imposed the mandates, and that basically caused caused the reaction of the Freedom Convoy. And again, we want to tip our hat to you and all the other truckers. But I'll leave you with the closing comments here. For our folks to take away. Where do we go from here? What does this tell us about our future, the future of Canada, and the future of freedom in Canada?
yeah. It's a big question, right? And I think a lot of people are struggling with that. Is um, what can we do? What can we do to make a difference, to bring the truth to this lost country? And yeah, right away, definitely, I've lived a blessed life, but it's also a busy life, which is I'm very thankful for. Right? Yeah, like you mentioned, we're blessed with 13 children. The oldest has just had number three, so we got a little grandson running around for a few days. We're actually got to bring him home today, this after, and I just called my son and asked, like, are you in a hurry to get your son home? Yeah, we want him home. Okay, we'd like to keep him, but so yeah, there's that busyness, but it's also a busyness of joy, right, with the family. Then the work has been slow, right, because of the tariff situation going on, and the lack of leadership in our country to deal with that. So we're, as a business, we're feeling that a little bit. So that adds a bit of um, anxiousness, but we know that God provides, so we're confident that way. But at the same time, it does. And then yeah, I was very thankful. We basically had 3 days of trial, and as it got closer, you start thinking this way, or should I do this? And then you have to remind yourself, leave it in the Lord's hands, and trust in the Lord. And that's always been the comfort. I know you've met my wife Janice. She's a very strong, calm woman who reminds me to do the right thing as well. So that's always been a blessing. So yeah, we have that. We have a busy life, but at the end of the day, as you know as well, we're called to keep busy. And I know it was a little sad for me to have to say to you and Dave, the deputy leader, that you know what, I want to run, but my wife is right. I better not. So I did sit back and watch Dave run a good campaign here in West Lincoln, and yeah, the numbers what you would like, but we're praying that the Lord does open the eyes of this country, and we see the fruit of our labor someday with an MP in arguing against the Liberal government, right? And I remember saying to my wife, Dave better not get in, because then I would be upset that it wasn't me. So, but yeah, but no, we were praying that somebody would win and get in, and yet we have a lot of work ahead of us. And I did say to my wife, okay, we're done this part, so what are we going to do next, right? And there's a lot of people across this country. I was interviewed by Rebel News, and I think she asked, yeah, what can we do next? Like and that's the big question that we all need to ask. But I think at the same time, we just have to, continue walking in God's ways, trusting that no matter what you and I do, God's plan is perfect. And I think that's where it was so hard for this country, right? Like, you and I are comforted by the fact that, we're concerned where things are going, but we know that we have a better home waiting for us. And that was what was so sad about COVID. But I remember at the beginning saying to people, there's always bigger issues, right? There's the death of 100,000 children a year. The maid issue is getting worse and worse. So there's so much work to do, but yet you and I are only called to do what we can do, and to take one step at a time, trusting that whatever outcome is from that, it's from the Lord's hand. And that's that's always been my comfort, right? And I think with a lot of Christians, we have that comfort, and you've seen that really amplified during COVID, that people were starting to realize there's something amiss. And I think you had mentioned at one of those freedom rallies in town, right? You met people through the COVID freedom stuff, and now you see them coming out and speaking out a bit more about abortion. So, yeah, whatever terrible or unpleasant stuff happened during COVID, it served a purpose, and we hope that people are waking up, and they are. It's just sometimes it's taking people longer than what we'd like. But and then, yeah, I remember one person after the election, he called me, a Mennonite background. He's, Harold, well, this sucks. I'm like, it's the Lord's will, right? And we have to accept that, but yet you still have to work to make it better. So yeah, it's been an incredible busy ride, but at the same time, it was what's her name from Rebel News, Alexa, the French correspondent. Yeah, she asked me, "Would you do it again?" And it's like, yes, in a heartbeat. Would we do things different? Well, yeah, we all would do things different in our lives if we had a second opportunity. But as a whole, right? So yeah, it's just been, words can't really express the joy, that support, and when you actually think about what people have sacrificed even just to help me, right? It brings tears to your eyes, and it's just, I'm so thankful to have experienced what I have in life, and what's next? God will let us know, right? And that's the thing. But there's that big question: what can we do next to make a difference? It's going to be interesting. I think the next few years are going to be interesting.
Well, Harold Jonker, it's awesome to have you back on the program and back out of court and back able to, focus on your family, your wonderful family, and your trucking business, Jonker Trucking. So we thank you for squeezing this chat in. I know that you are under some time pressures today, so we're not going to hold you any longer. We'll let you get on with your day. But thanks for joining us today. and keep the faith and keep on trucking is kind of two things we can say.
Yeah.
There's a verse in the Bible that says, if a man's ways please the Lord, he makes even his enemies to be at peace with him. And there is a time for that. And so I just want to leave that with you. We appreciate you stepping out, putting your life, your career on the line for our freedom. And for that, we're truly thankful. So God bless you.
Yeah, God bless you as well. And yes, thanks. It's, like I said, it's been an honor. This journey has been a blessing. Tiring at times, but a blessing. So,
all right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you. Harold Jonker, for joining us today. Have a great day, and God be with you.
You as well.